My name is Kevin Rush, and I'm the lead visionary of City Edge in Cleveland, Ohio. And Pastor Rob, is a good friend, and you guys are good friends, you know. It's extended family for sure. He asked me to share the story of KidsLoveChurch.com. And the origination of Kids Love Church really started in this room that I'm sitting in right now. One day, about a year or two ago, when my oldest daughter, Selah, was 6, I was working at home, and I was working, apparently this is how I work when I work at home, typing on the computer, focusing on my work, and I decided to take a coffee break, stop, refill my coffee, grab the coffee cup, got up, and looked over into this corner right over here, and I saw a peculiar thing. My daughter was actually like lining all these chairs, and she was cutting papers and cutting them and finding like really neat size and put them on each chairs, and I was like, "Hey, Selah," with my coffee cup, "Hey, Selah, what are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm starting a church." "Do tell. Tell me more about your church. What is your church? What is your church about?" And she's like, "My church is called KidsLoveChurch.com or Kids Love Church." And I said, "Oh yeah? Tell me about what you do at Kids Love Church." She's like, "Well, at KidsLoveChurch.com or KidsLoveChurch.com, we love kids, and we go to the parks and we throw parties, we serve people." We go into and act out stories from the Bible and invite people into it. We clean up the park and we help, we invite them to do it. And we always have room for more people and friends to come join us. And I was like, "This sounds awesome." I was like, "But what are all these things on the chairs? You're cutting up these papers. What are these papers?" And Selah, when her 6-year-old, cute little voice, tells me, "Well, that's money." And I'm like, "Oh no, great. What is the pastor daughter picked up from me? Oh, it's the pastor's daughter probably calling for money. Here we go through this narrative." And as I asked her, I said, "Well, what's the money for?" And she goes, "Oh, well, the money is for us to give away, to bless people, and to start new churches." And immediately, as a church planner and as a father, I'm like, You get this, honey. And so from that moment, it began for me to think, like, what if we just let our kids go on mission? Like, they understand what it's like to love church and to invite people in. It's us who got older and bitter. And then it made me remember of Luke 18:6, where Jesus called the little children to him and says, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, from the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." I've actually read a translation that actually says they are nearer to the kingdom than you. What if we let our kids lead us into the kingdom? And so I hopped online and bought the domain KidsLoveChurch.com, and I said, "Selah, let's just, whatever you want." I let my kids, all 3 of them, just give input. What design they want, what do they want it to look like? And from this website, it's just a website for kids who love church, and to unleash them to say, what does it look like for a church where kids love church? And so we created an idea campaign where anybody can submit via their phone, via a webcam, even if you hashtag in any social media, Kids Love Church, it comes to our website. And we want to just be the curator of all these amazing ideas from kids of what it looks like for a church where kids love church, a church that goes on mission naturally to invite people far from God in to their family. And so you can go to that website. That's the idea. And what if I ask you, New Hope, what does it look like for your church to be a church where kids love church? And don't start with you, start with them. We love you beyond reason, and looking forward to being with you soon. Take care.
Morning, New Hope. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm Roy Templeman, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the director of Extreme Kids, our kindergarten through 5th grade children's ministry.
And my name is Laura Markle, and I'm the director administrator of New Beginnings Preschool and the director of our Hopeland Ministries. And I'm just going to throw it out there now. I apologize ahead of time for my feet swinging. I have short little legs, and Rob promised that my feet would reach this little bar right here, and they sort of do. So if that's distracting, I apologize.
Hey, as Pastor Kevin mentioned in the video, we work really hard here to ensure that New Hope is a church that kids love.
So why do kids love New Hope?
Or, if the kids haven't been here, why should they or why would they love New Hope as well?
Today we're going to have some fun. Are you guys ready to have some fun? All right, we got to have fun if we're going to talk about kids. And we're going to answer, or we're going to give you 6 answers to that very question.
And while the answers to all 6 questions are very important, the answer to the first question and the last question are really the most important answers of all. So, the first reason that kids love New Hope is
Jesus.
I can't sing that well, so I'm not going to do it. We're actually going to look at a Bible verse that kind of supports this idea. We're going to look at Mark chapter 10, verses 13 through 16. And the first part of this verse says, the people brought children to Jesus, hoping he might touch them. The disciples shooed them off. At this time in this culture, the idea of placing your hand on someone was a sign of acceptance and blessing. For someone like Jesus to do that, it was something that could change that person, or in this case, that child's life.
But they were just kids. And thinking that Jesus had more important things, namely adults, to interact with, the disciples shooed them away.
And we know we've all been in that situation. We've had kids or been around kids that we just feel as adults that we need a break. We need our time alone. We need a few minutes to get away to ourselves and be by ourselves and be away from our children. But watch in this next part of the verse what Jesus says when he sees his disciples shooing the children away. It says, "But Jesus was irate, and he let them know it. Don't push these children away. Don't ever get between them and me." The idea that his disciples were pushing these children away really ticked Jesus off. He was mad. Not only did he instruct the disciples not to push them away, he went further by saying, don't ever, no matter what, keep the children from him.
As if to say that nothing was more important than these little ones.
And as the passage continues, it tells us just that. It says, these children are at the very center of life in the kingdom. Mark this, unless you accept God's kingdom in the simplicity of a child, you'll never get in. And it's just that. He's telling us the center, the most important thing in his kingdom is the children.
Sometimes I think that we think that the most important thing that happens here is in this space. That we as adults are coming here to learn more about Jesus and to experience him. And we're just praying to God that our number does not come up on that little screen over there so that we don't have to go and handle the situation.
But that's not the way Jesus sees it. And that's definitely not the way that we see it. In fact, Jesus tells us to accept God's kingdom, to be part of the kingdom. You have to do it as a child would. You'd have to accept it in the way a child would. And how are we as adults supposed to know how to do that if we aren't living and breathing and tying into the lives of children? So here, watch how the passage ends. It says, then, gathering the children up in his arms, he laid his hands of blessing on them. So at the beginning, when we started the verse, the children had come. They brought the children with the hope that Jesus would lay his hands of blessing and acceptance on them. And that's exactly what happened. He gathered the children up. He laid his hands on them and blessed them for what they are to him.
We are not here to babysit. That's not what we do. We are here to bless and love on your children and help them experience Jesus while you do the same thing.
And I can speak, from experience, and any of our volunteers can. There is nothing more awesome than seeing a child accept Jesus to be part of their life and to learn to live and to demonstrate a life in Jesus. It is the most amazing thing to see how that love and that light of Jesus shines through them.
So the first reason that kids love New Hope is Jesus. And the second reason that kids love New Hope is the environment and structure.
Now, if you've ever had the pleasure to drop a child off or pick a child up from Extreme Kids, you've experienced what, in my concepts is my ability to try to keep those children from killing each other or hurting each other. Because pretty much what they're doing is they're playing. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. They're climbing rock walls, they're playing dodgeball, and it's just my hope and desire that nobody breaks an arm, gets hurt, or dies. So, but it's a fun experience, and it allows them to make time with each other, to make relationships that continue to grow, whether it be from kindergarten clear up to 5th grade. They create friendships that occur in this space. They may not even go to the same school. They might not even know each other out of here, but that time is a very important time. And they climb the rock wall, and we dance, and we sing songs, and we play music, and, it is possible that we do provide them a quantity of candy as they answer verses or they answer questions as a reward. So if at times you've picked them up and they seem a little more excited or hyper than they might have been when you dropped them off, I apologize.
Over at the Ridge Kids, I became known as the donut lady because I would carry in a little cup full of donut holes and wow, you're doing a great job listening and sit quietly, here's a donut hole. And you'd be amazed how quickly I went. They keep an eye on me.
It's an awesome thing. One of the other things that we do, too, outside of those experiences, is over here we started a second service concept called the Green Room. And what it really allows us to do is it allows us for adults to serve first service with their children, whether it be in the children's ministry or in sound or music or whatever it may be. And then second service, they can come participate in the large service, and their kids go downstairs into the Green Room. They spend time with each other. There's an adult there. They talk, they watch movies, they play. And it's been a wonderful thing that allows us as adults to continue to serve, but yet not miss out on our experience in this room.
Things in Hopeland are a little bit different than over in Extreme Kids. A large part of our job in Hopeland is to create a space that parents are comfortable leaving their children in. And I didn't quite realize how difficult that would be until I became a parent and had to leave my daughter with someone that doesn't normally care for her. And this morning it wasn't all that easy because she is little Miss Grumpy Gills today. And I literally had to say, here's her binky, here's her blanket, there's her diaper bag, I love you, bye, and run out the door. But I can do that because I have confidence in the people that serve there. And I believe that our atmosphere and our attitude and the persona that we take on is comforting to families, especially new families that come for the first time and are clinging on to a toddler. They're not ready to leave, and the child's not ready to leave. And it's our job to make sure that they trust that their child is in a good space and that they're safe and that they're happy and they're learning about Jesus. And when we do things in the preschool classrooms, they are getting a little messy, playing with Play-Doh, and they are doing crafts and doing art projects, and we do have a snack, and it's so important for us to give the children a love for church when they're wee, because when they grow up, they'll continue to come, and they'll continue to grow, and that foundation that we're building upon, it starts when they're tiny, and that's the big picture, because we want them to come and continue to come and replace you in the seats that you sit in. And that's why we do what we do, so that they will learn to love church and continue to be here through their lives.
So we've covered 2 reasons that kids love church here at New Hope. The third reason that kids love church here at New Hope is
the Rockstar Kids and volunteers.
So, last week's Memorial Day weekend, we have a lot of campers in town. So, if you haven't figured it out yet, I kind of like to talk. So, I'm... Nah, I know. It's a shocker. Yeah. So, I'm hanging out at the check-in station, greeting the new families as they come in, and a new family comes in, has 4 kids, and we start talking, and I realize they're from Shelby. Well, I grew up in Shelby, so instantly there's, oh, well, who do you know, and so forth, and I come to find that the mom graduated from high school with my brother. So we're talking, and they send their kids upstairs, take one of their other little ones down to Hopeland, and they participate in our service. Well, after first service is over, I'm back over at the Extreme Kids area, and they come back up, and we're talking again, and their kids come running down. And pretty quickly, the kids are tugging on the shirts, and they're asking questions like, how long would it take us to drive from Shelby to here? They had such a fun experience that they wanted to come back, all three of them. And what's really cool about that idea and that story is that our volunteers don't act any different knowing there's visitors or knowing there's new people from last week or the week before that. They just loved those kids and shared Jesus with those kids and lived into the lives of those kids, enough so that this family that's here on vacation that came to Extreme Kids is bugging their parents to do nothing more than drive them back an hour from Shelby next week or whenever it might be to come to church at New Hope and be part of that process. And as follow-up to that, it's cool, kind of cool. I talked to my brother this week. That mother has reached out to him to kind of get some information about and got my email address and stuff about what we do here at New Hope. So I'm hoping maybe in the next few weeks we'll see that family again, which is really kind of awesome.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, I got the opportunity to be the check-in person in Hopeland. And we have sort of a monthly rotation, and I fill in spots as needed. And the check-in person is a smiling face at the computer as parents bring their children in. We check them into the computer system, give them a sticker. That way they have to return that sticker at the end to get their kids in. And the check-in person is responsible to sit at the desk the whole gathering in case there's emergencies, in case there's 4 babies and 2 people and everybody's hungry all at once. We're that person to come in and help. And everything was running really smoothly that day, so I was balancing my checkbook, woohoo fun, at the counter, and I just sort of started listening to what was going on behind me. There were 2 teachers that were in the same classroom. They'd combined age groups and were teaching together. And I was so impressed that they were doing what God made them to do. They were interacting with those kids, and they were laughing at some of the funny stories that the kids, some of the funny things, those darn things that kids say, huh? And we all got a good laugh just listening to them have fun doing what they were doing, and it makes my heart swell as the leader of that group of people to know that they're doing executing the gifts that God has given them. So I'm so thankful that I got a chance to listen in on that.
One of the other cool things that our volunteers get to do, and you see it on a weekly basis, is we have a lot of kiddos that don't come from a standard home environment. They might not have a mommy, or they might not have a daddy, or in a lot of cases it's grandma or grandpa that brings them. And what our volunteers do naturally, and it's just another sign of them pouring into the lives of these kids, is they fill that role, whether it's a hug, or it's a wipe a tear away, or it's a playing a game, or it's just asking them how their week went or what they did. It's feeding into the lives of those kids. And it's very awesome to watch how you go from kindergartners to 5th grade, and you see them create relationships with their volunteers. That a lot of times when they're out past Extreme Kids and they've moved on to Evo, those kids are coming back and seeking out those same volunteers to tell them how much, how you doing, and to have relationships with them. So the fact that we are choosing to live Jesus into the lives of these kids, the byproduct is that in a lot of cases we're filling holes for these kids. We're playing roles in their lives that they don't have elsewhere. And it's a cool thing to do, it's a cool thing to experience, and it's something our volunteers do in such an awesome way, and it's such a blessing to the children that are in those in Extreme Kids.
In between gatherings today, we actually had a grandma approach us to say thank you for being positive influence in her grandbabies' lives. And so all 3 of us are standing out there. He might not have because he's a dude, but I was standing there just bawling, because she wanted to express how we did that very thing where we filled gaps in the lives of her grandbabies and what a difference it made for them. I'm going to tell you a little story that happened this past year that just gives me a sense, a sort of reaffirmation from the Lord that I'm at the place that he wants me to be. I'm the director of New Beginnings Preschool, and the administrator and the teacher there, And twice a year, we get up in front of the church, and the kids sing songs. And this year at Christmas time was our first performance. And was anybody here for that? Were you blessed by that? But this year, we had a family that came for the very first time to New Hope to watch their child sing at that gathering. And they were unchurched. And the first time that they came, they loved it. And they never stopped coming. And they continued to show up week after week. The dad actually came on his own because the kids and the mom couldn't come last week, and he came to the first gathering by himself. He went home and told his mom how excited he is that he's finally found a place to go to church where he's comfortable and where the people are real. And for the first time in his life, he feels like he can come and sit through church and feel good about who he is. And I was so blessed by that because in all reality, I'm a preschool teacher and it's my job to teach those children, and that's what God made me to do. But that's a part of the big picture of how God can use everything we do here to bring people in from our community to experience Jesus and leave different. And so that's just a huge blessing to me to know that like God was able to use not just the children's ministry here on Sunday, but to connect all the dots for this family to come closer to him. And that's huge.
One of my kiddo stories, on Easter Sunday, we were having a bunch of different videos, and one of the videos was a Lego video. Somebody had taken pictures and made a Lego video of the Easter story. So we watched the Lego video story, and then we followed it up with how he did it. And he'd spent like 7.5 weeks taking these pictures and putting this video together. And we talked about it, and then we proceeded to talk about our verse of the week, which that week was John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he sent his only son, so we shall not perish but have everlasting life. And the kids talked about it, and we moved on, come back the next Sunday, and one of the kiddos comes in. And he reaches up and he grabs onto my shirt, and he says, I want to show you something. And what he had done was, using his little Nintendo DS and his own Legos, he'd created his own video with his Lego characters based on the verse we did. So we proceeded to change schedule, and for the next half an hour, I got to watch this kiddo from the stage lead a conversation with the other kids, showing them the video he made about John 3:16 with his own Lego characters. And he had them there, and he went around and talked to them, and it was awesome. And what's really cool about it is he brought another video for Mother's Day back, and he's getting much better. This one's like 4.5 minutes long. So I got to figure now, kind of give him his spots now and then so he can give me a little warning ahead of time when he's going to do it. But it's really awesome. But as we think about, whether it be our own kids or our grandkids or kids from families that live near us, how we've poured into the lives of children and how we can make a difference for children. Take some time as we sing this song to really reflect on what you've done for children or what you could do for children and how you can make a difference in their lives, put Jesus into their lives by pouring into them, by taking time for them. Okay, so we've talked about the three reasons. So the fourth reason that kids love New Hope Church is
the fun experience. Sometimes I'm not really certain who has more fun, us or them. And out at Ridge Kids one night, I managed to sneak a little bit of a bribe picture of Roy having a whole lot of fun. And we thought maybe if you guys wanted to look at it, we would show it to you. So anybody into seeing that? Yeah? All right, so go ahead and put it up. Right, everybody give him a hand for being able to do that. If you listen really closely, you can almost hear him scream. Because his mouth is wide open going, I don't know.
Yeah. Take the picture.
We really had a good time there.
And we really wanted to involve everyone today. And we considered, with the adequate amount of wall space of everybody doing their own handstands, but we decided against it. But what we are going to do, and this is audience participation, is we're going to perform a song, and you guys are going to participate with us. So if you would, everybody stand up. We'll make some space. And I'm going to ask for a couple kiddos to come out, and they're going to help us perform this song.
All right, so we got to put off our adult ness.
Yes.
Put on our kid, our inner child needs to come out. So we're going to take a deep breath. Everybody breathe in. And blow it out. Let's get ready to have some fun.
Okay, so we're going to drive the bus. All right, we'll start like this. Honk the horn. Drive the bus. Honking the horn. Still honking the horn. Oh, open the door. Come on in the bus. Close the door. Driving the bus. Roadkill. Swerve. Yeah, still honking the horn. Yep, always honking the horn. Windshield wipers. Oh, stop. People crossing. Come on, cross on. Okay, back driving bus. Okay, it's east, west, woo, 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 woo. 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 Okay, we're hugging the cow. Up high. Down low. All right, milk that thing. All right, we're going to stop. Oh, no, we're milking. All right, we're going to stop right there. Great job, everybody. Hey, can I have another hand of applause to our little helpers here as they go off stage? Thank you, guys.
Give me a second to reassemble what fell apart. The little pocket guy came off my microphone. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
All right, so that video, you guys did an awesome job, by the way.
Job.
Let me climb back up here. Takes a little extra work for us short people to get up on such a high stool. All right, I think we're comfortable. I'm not going to fall off. But that was performed by Keith Connor. And he joined us a couple of years ago for something called VBX. It was a VBS we had a few years ago, and they did. Anybody here for that? Woo, woo. All right. Where we had extreme everything. And so Keith, as you can see, is extreme. And he's coming back in August, and we're having a VBS experience called Bible Boot Camp. And so he sent us a little addition to our message today. So go ahead and check this out.
Hey, beautifuls, this is Keith. Hey, I want you to know I'm really looking forward to coming and hanging out with you for a few days. The armor of God, I love it. Not only for just the theme of a VBS, but every day for us to try to put it on. I believe that the church today, I believe that we're tired and we're scared. And the armor of God, first of all, we've got to put on our truth belt. You know, it says the truth will set us free. You need to put on your truth belt. I need to put on mine, or else our pants are going to fall down. The breastplate of righteousness, you know, it'll help us do the right thing. You know, just do the right thing. We need to put on our peace shoes so that we can be ready. Sometimes, you know, we have to run into battle, but sometimes we need to turn around and skedaddle. Faith shield, you know, it says that it's to deflect the flaming arrows of the enemy. In my little cartoon mind, it's to deflect the devil's duty, man. The helmet of salvation. It's to protect our beautiful minds, our unique minds that God has given every single one of us. The Word of God, it says it's the sword of the Spirit, you know, and sometimes you use it defensively, and sometimes, you know, the sword of the Spirit might just be simply just cutting through all the crap that's going on in the world today. And in the Word it says, the truth will set us free. And so, I just believe it. And unless we come to the Lord through the eyes of a child, as a child, heaven's going to be full of 5-year-olds, baby. So, I love you, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And just remember, my daddy says I ain't right, but mama, she says I'm special. So I got that going for me.
It wouldn't be a kid's Sunday without at least a few references and giggles about poop, right?
So as the slide says, we have a Bible boot camp VBS coming this August. We definitely could use any extra help. So if you're interested, please let Laura or I know. We'd love to get you tied into that somehow. And it'll be a great time, I'm sure. We've covered 4 of the reasons, so now we're up to the 5th reason. The 5th reason that kids love New Hope Church is
the support of the church.
Whether it be elders, fellow staff, parents, grandparents, visitors, people that just go to church here, I can't thank all of those people enough for how often they pitch in when we need somebody. It could be we have a late volunteer. It could be we have a kiddo needs help going to the restroom. It could be a lot of things. And not one time have we ever been told no. I mean, people continually and without any question help our ministry as we need them. And it's a wonderful thing. And we couldn't do what we do for the kiddos and bring Jesus into their lives if it wasn't for the whole of this church and as they help us do that. And it's a wonderful thing.
We also couldn't do what we do if we didn't have people like you praying for us. We feel it and we know that you do, and we thank you for it. It makes all the difference.
The other thing, and probably one of the more important things, is we could not do what we do without our volunteers. They selfishly give of their time and their heart and their energy to love into children and to want children to have a relationship that is life-lasting with Jesus. And that's what they do. That's their focus, and they do it without regard, without reward, and sometimes in very difficult ways. But they do it with love and kindness in their heart, and without any of them, we couldn't do what we do for the children here at New Hope.
We have a lot of people that encourage us. I'm a words of affirmation kind of gal, so don't tell me good job if you don't really mean it. But when you have people coming up and saying, I really appreciate what you do for our kids, that feeds into us and feeds into what we do. And we appreciate the encouragement. So thank you.
And all of these things make a huge difference to us and really let us and our volunteers and everyone that's part of the process make New Hope a church that kids love. And because ultimately, in the end, and we'll look at it here, God wants full custody of his children, not just weekend visits. And, I really think if we, as a whole, do a good job loving children and connecting them with Jesus, they will learn to know Jesus, and they'll take him with them. Even at their age, they'll take him to school. They'll take him to relatives. And as they grow, and as Laura had said, they'll continue to make Jesus the main part of their lives. And someday they'll be in these seats, and we'll be having the same conversation about their children and how we're making Jesus a part of their kids' lives. And that's what this is all about.
Amen.
So we've covered 5 of the reasons. So for the 6th one, which we at the beginning told you was one of the most important, we're going to bring out our big gun.
I'm not getting down because it takes a little bit to get back up. Because he told me to stay here last time. So.
That's right. So, hey, let me ask you guys, has this been fun? And I just think, I love Roy and Laura, and I knew you guys would love them and to hear from them. And their hearts for kids are just awesome. It's funny. A couple weeks ago when we were talking about this, Laura said, yeah, I'll do it, but Roy may have to wear a poncho because I'm going to be so nervous I don't know what might happen. And they have never done this before. They do it around kids, but they've never done this before. And could you tell that they'd never done this before, or were they great? They were great. Awesome. So as cool as they are and as much as they love kids, if it's just them loving on kids, is that enough? No. And some of you know this because you do things and serve in ways where you're like, we need more help, right? We need more people. And so as we end today, I want to give you the last thing, just in these last couple minutes. And so we started with Jesus, and all of these things are important, but the last thing, and another very significant thing, is you. You guys have an opportunity to make New Hope a place that kids love. Now, I'm not the guy who wants to put a square peg in a round hole, so this is not about me spending these last couple minutes saying, we need everybody to sign up in blood to serve in kids ministry today. That's not what this is about. But for some of you, it could mean something like if a kid goes racing past you in the hall, instead of scrunching your face up and going, what are they doing running around? You smile and you say, man, I'm really thankful we have kids here running around. And maybe you want to stop them and not have them injure themselves. But you know what? Do you see how our attitude and perspective makes a huge difference? And for some of us, you know, it might just be praying and loving like they discussed and being an encourager. Those things are unbelievably important. But here's the deal. This morning, in our gatherings and across the building with 300 to 400 people here this morning, it's not just the people who currently serve in kids ministry that have been made and created to actually do that. And so for some of you here maybe who have never been in Hopeland or Extreme Kids, but you know what? Anytime you go visit relatives and you have nieces or nephews, or maybe there's neighbor kids, and you're crawling around on the floor or in the lawn with them, and you get along with them, and they laugh and they have a great time, and your spouse kind of grumbles, well, it's because they are a kid, right? If that's you, maybe God has made you and created you to be the kind of person who needs to plug in a more consistent way and pour into the children in our children's ministry. And today might be a great day to say yes to God if that's who you are. Now, Laura has an awesome team. They both have amazing teams. Laura's team's a little bigger. And she actually, after the first gathering, had one person come to her and say, I'm ready to go. I'd like to serve. Roy has an amazing team, but there's like 3 people or 3 couples on his team. And you think in the course of a month, 4 Sundays, 2 gatherings, there's 8, right? So you start doing the math, and that doesn't work very well. They're like doubled and tripled and quadrupled up every single month, and they're amazing volunteers. But with 300 to 400 people, do you think maybe there would be 5 people here who have been created and gifted to work with kids? Because 5 more, it'd be like once a month. 13 right. People who would say, hey, I'll do it once every 2 months, and you could pour into kids' lives in ways that change things for them now and forever. And so I'm wondering today, we're going to close with a song. I'm wondering today if maybe God is tapping you on the shoulder. Maybe God has been speaking to you. Maybe you know you're this kind of person, and you could say, yeah, I could serve once a month. I could serve once every couple months. That would be no problem. And not to babysit. We don't do that here at New Hope. But to love kids and to teach kids and to encourage kids in ways that help them to know Jesus, and so that changes everything. Let's pray. God, I just want to thank you for today. Lord, on Graduation Sunday 2015, that we could think about the reasons we are and the reasons we want to be a place where kids just love being here. And God, it's so much fun to watch kids from Shelby and Loudonville and from everywhere grab mom and dad by the shirt and tug on it and say, can we come back? Because they've had such an incredible time in this space, an incredible time learning, an incredible time having fun, and most importantly, an incredible time encountering you. And so, God, I pray that because of today, there would be some people who would say, man, I want to help make that happen. I like kids. I can hang out with kids. I can encourage kids. And so, Lord, I pray that because of today, that it wouldn't be, well, I'll think about it again. or I'll go home and pray about it. Some people here already know. And Lord, I just pray that today we would, whatever area it is, God, if you've created us and called us, may we step forward and serve in ways that change things. Because we want to give glory to you forever by how we live today. God, thanks for people like Roy and Laura. God, thanks for people like all of us. Because we